Alright, hello and welcome back to the Forgotten City. Last time we found ourselves in an ancient Roman city that's seemingly traveling through time. And, yeah, be warned, because this is a heavily narrative-driven game, we're going to be spoiling quite a bit here. So please, only watch this if you either don't intend to play this for yourself, or if you've already played and wish to see someone else experience it. I will say, I kind of wish I had named my character Dr. Jones just because I chose the archaeology profession, but I should have done that at the start of the last stream. I didn't want to redo 3 hours of gameplay just that, so I'm just going to continue as the character and just say Jones. But not Alex Jones, that's an American news reporter, according to Google, so I don't want to, yeah, it's always awkward when it's an actual person and not, a fictional character. Listens with their ears. Like those people who played Dragon Age, I think it was 2, where the character's last name is Hawk, and people named them Ethan without realizing there was an actual Ethan Hawke. Oh well. Remember, we do not trust that guy. Alright, the assassin... Right, he met his end here. There's a bounty notice. Emperor Nero ordered the execution of cultists here. Yeah, and the reason I didn't take this was because I figure if I ever get captured or something, they might think I'm an assassin if I have this with me, and that's why I'm leaving it here, but... Yeah, I guess, interesting. He had him... So yeah, I'm just gonna leave the bounty notice here and, leave everything behind. Alright, so last time we completed a dungeon and learned quite a bit about what's going on. Oh, another resin respawned. I could steal it, which would cause the apocalypse and allow me to reset the timeline, which could allow me to save the hospital. However... Sure. Oh, that's right. I want to go in, I need to go to the fountain area. Oh yeah, last time we found through mad science, these statues, the people inside are actually still alive, and in fact, if you remove the golden plating, they can move around like normal, but the problem is the gold doesn't seem to just be plating over their skin, it actually is their skin, which is moderately horrifying, I am not going to lie. Yeah, this is what I wanted here. Here we are. Climb up here. This here. Bottle of wine, possibly the last bottle of wine in the city. Might as well grab a few of these. Denarius. Treasure hunter obtained. Achievement obtained. What's this? Find treasure using the golden bow. Oh, nice. That's a nice chest there. I do need to be careful here. I'm pretty sure there's a timer of some sort, but I don't know if it's a live timer or if it's only once I do certain events. What's this? Goose eggs. Laid by the city's goose. Alright, since it's the city's goose, it doesn't break the golden rule to take these since they're officially public property. Head through here. Alright. Where's the flashlight here? Yeah. We need to be careful looking here. Alright. So we just need to... Alright, I'm keeping the flashlight here. Once again, I need to be very careful in these caverns. Because the edges are so rocky, there could easily be another path that I miss. Which would mean less exploration, and also means I'm vulnerable to... It's all up to you. Which also means I'm vulnerable to, like this that ambush from Goblin Slayer, and, well, that would be bad news for me, at the very least. May the gods be kinder to you than they were to us, stranger. Oh, I was wondering, is she...
I love your clothes. So exotic.
I was about to say, is she walking into a pillar, but no, she's cleaning. It's a bit off there. Well, this was originally Skyrim mod, so it's just
you're
keeping to its
here.
roots.
I'm so
Actually, I've never played
glad you
Skyrim,
decided
but
to visit.
I've seen the compilation
I'm Wherein I.
videos.
And I hope I'm not being too forward, but the moment I laid eyes, there.
Alright. Oh, stop. I'm gonna please go on.
What was that? Let's just.
We're out of here.
You know, normally I'd.
I was talking about escape of the city.
I guess that went. As a matter of fact, I'm happy to tell you all about. So.
Tell me more about what I'd be buying. If you have a way, why haven't you used it yourself?
Simple. It's a one-way trip, and I'm not ready to go just yet. I like my life here. One day, maybe, but not now.
And how do I know this
if
isn't a
I took your
scam?
money without giving you what I promised, I'd be
Breaking the golden rule, wouldn't I?
doing that.
No interest in doing that. Alright. Isn't it unethical people driving on
I
his
think
way
of
out?
it this way. I have something of value, and I'm willing to share it for a price. That's not unethical. That's just good business. Now, do you want it or not? What's the matter? Well, perhaps you could take out a loan. I understand Malleolus has lent money to others, on occasion.
I'll be going now.
Just as the ocean accepts the rivers, but the bloodless shadows wander without flesh or
So
bone.
those are the...
Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades.
She's referring to golden
imitate-
statues.
Help me? You cannot help me. I have seen things.
Ooh, she's being coherent, much more
Pattern,
coherent now,
a
which
terrible
means...
pattern. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. I'll say no more.
Alright, I'll be careful.
The newly arrived are...
Alright, yeah, so she doesn't... I guess it makes sense we haven't spoken to her too much in this timeline. I don't want to steal yet because that breaks the golden rule and destroys everything, and I don't want that yet. But I will need to do it eventually if the story itself doesn't do that, because there's, we saw last time there's a chest behind this door, but this statue's blocking them. We know the statues come to life when the golden rule is broken, because they are then arrive under orders to, execute all of the people here and turn them to golden statues. Don't steal anything, don't hurt anyone, don't... Whoever wrote this didn't get to finish. We know blasphemy doesn't break the golden rule, which means whatever god did this doesn't mind people calling them an asshole. Which is good, because I probably will once I find out who it is, not going to lie.
Citizen, we're finally alone. I assume you...
Dr. Jones, and we've had this conversation before.
Wait, if I understand correctly, I must have entrusted you with figuring out who the culprit is. Only, I assume we failed. And you have to start over. Is that about right? If so, what happened?
I couldn't stop it from being broken.
Ah, I see. Look, it's unfortunate, but all that matters now is that you make use of what you've learned and gathered, and do better next time. Now, I assume you sought me out again for a reason?
Yes. Release Dooley. I can't, let's see here. I was hoping to ask you some question. Hoping to ask you release Dooley.
You mean Duilius?
Duilius.
Releasing him is out of the question, I'm afraid. That man is a liability we simply cannot afford. Perhaps you're not aware he was caught multiple times, sneaking around in places he should not have been.
What exactly did you do
Look, I can see
exactly?
where you're going with this. You think me cruel. I assure you that is not the case. You may not be aware of this, but it was not so long ago, during the Republic, the law of the 12 Tables would have required that he be killed as soon as he was born, owing to his deformities. Here we see to it that he has food, water, and shelter, and most importantly, he is able to continue living.
True, they
A
weren't exactly that
privilege that
nice
would be
to
taken away
people.
from all of us were he to be released and commit the crime of trespass. The man has no self-discipline, poor comprehension of what is going on around him, and is an incorrigible rule breaker. I will not jeopardize the lives of my people so that one man can go free.
We don't know if trespassing counts as
Was there
breaking the
something
golden
else?
rule. Actually, they don't know what at all handles the golden rule. What do you think about the golden
I've
rule
had
anyway?
plenty of time to think about it. Let me see if I can sum up my thoughts. I've always considered my guiding star to be the well-being of the Roman people. Our survival and prosperity have always hinged upon honoring the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. Give the gods what they want and we all prosper. Dishonor them and we all die. It's as simple as that. The real enemy in this place is not the golden rule, but human failings. The temptation to slide into degeneracy, greed, and hubris. I trust that answers your question.
I guess that is true. Technically speaking, the golden rule doesn't seem to require any. The golden rule is theoretically pretty easy to just follow since it's all basic stuff, but well, at least on the surface, because like the pseudo pharmacist mentioned, and nothing stops it from price gouging or allowing someone to die through inaction, or indeed, like we did with the assassin, luring them to a place we knew would be extremely dangerous and simply neglecting to tell them that little detail. And that in return means that not much else can be done. So, I think he is correct that human flaw is one of the primary things there, but at the same time, well, I guess that could also be tied to the root of it, because at the end of the day, nothing stopped that guy from screwing over everyone for the sake of money, and nor did the assassin be required to try and. Nor did we technically have to. Well, yeah, we did, or else he would have broken the golden rule because he doesn't follow it. Your story, then.
Sextus
Yeah, correct.
Sentius Imperiosus is my name, though magistrate is the proper way to address me. Before I wound up here, I was a decurion in the cavalry of Imperial Rome, helping protect civilization from the barbarians.
What's a
It's a
decurion?
cavalry officer. I had 30 men under my command. This was my uniform.
I can see, so we just kept it. Why are you still wearing it?
As magistrate, I usually wear a toga, but today I may need to survive long enough to create the portal for you, so it seemed prudent.
That makes sense. Yeah, so long story short, or, as, whenever the golden rule is broken, he immediately legs it over. So as long as he's not dead, we can continue to redo this. This also means if I turn to a statue early with a gold statue, I'll probably get a non-standard game over, since he can't create the portal. Because this isn't like Deathloop or those other time loop games where on death you get looped. No, I have to manually use the portal for this. How did you end up here exactly?
My men and I were at the Emporium in Rome as honor guard for a visiting dignitary arriving upriver by barge. Now, the port is usually bustling, but just as our guests arrived, waves of people began running toward the river from streets and alleyways in every direction. They were trying to escape a terrible fire.
Fire of Rome.
Unfortunately, the crowd sent my horse into a panic, and I remember it losing its footing by the water's edge. The next thing I knew, I was waking up on a riverbank not far from here in the company of some stranger. I went looking for my horse and discovered that lonely temple. You can probably figure out the rest.
How'd you come to be a
I
magistrate?
was elected 7 months ago, uncontested because of my command experience. Since then, there's been growing agitation for another election. They're supposed to be annual, but I agreed to hold it sooner, hoping it would placate my constituents. Unfortunately, it just seems to have emboldened certain elements instead. Very well.
Some
Ask
questions.
then. Good.
Jaguars can
Of
break
course.
it.
What is it?
Or I figure out how to stop at least one person. What happens
Well,
now?
if you stopped one person from breaking it and you're still here, then there must be someone else about to break it still. Allow me to explain. When I discovered the ritual to Proserpina, the instructions came with a warning about paradoxes.
Time paradoxes.
The crux of it is this. If you do anything to change the course of history in such a way that your very being here is impossible, you will have created a paradox. To illustrate, when the golden rule is broken, I will open the doorway that will bring you here to prevent it from being broken. If you manage to succeed in saving our lives, then I will have no reason to open the doorway, and you will never have come here. A paradox, you see? The same thing would happen if you, say, inadvertently, allowed me to die. If I can't summon you, then you can't be here, obviously. If either of those things were to happen, I am given to understand you would be flung back to your original time, having changed the course of history for us and yourself.
Well, at least it doesn't mean our
So the
timeline
fact
would
that
cease to
you are
exist,
still
period.
here means someone is going to break the golden rule, and there is yet work to do.
This is mostly a
Understand?
recap, but it's good to go back over this. I think so,
Excellent. So, it looks like you'll have to continue your investigation. Now, was there anything else you wanted to ask? Thank you. I'll be...
It seems I can formally accuse someone. I don't know if that's going to lead to anything.
How come you're allowed a weapon and I'm not?
Oh yeah, because my character has the bow on his back because it's too big to fit in a pocket. A few of them did mention the fire. A few mentioned the stranger. I can't tell if everyone walking around here is on a specific timeline, like if they'll eventually walk the place and break the golden rule, for example, or if it only happens if I specifically do something that progresses the events of the day. Like if I were to say, "Ooh, we should progress to the election." Oh yes, and one thing we did learn that I wasn't learning through dialogue by correctly winning the negotiations with Nvidia, or her name, from the palace before. She mentioned hearing whispers from them before they spoke to us, but upon speaking with her, we both realized, technically speaking, this is the same voice, just coming from these different statues. So, while it does seem that people in here are all still alive, either there's a hive mind here, or someone is controlling their bodies. Just somehow. To some extent. Have Galerius run for senator. Magistrate, I mean.
Ah, it's you again. Hope you're settling in, friend. Now, what's on your mind?
What do you think about the Golden Rule?
I don't give it much thought these days. I mean, everybody here's got their own view about what we need to do to survive. But I say, let's spend less time arguing about what it means to be good and just get on with it, you know?
You have a way out of here?
As much as I'd love to get out of here, the harvest's always more fruitful in another man's field, isn't it? But Scintilla, Sentius's daughter, went missing a few weeks back. Could be she found a way out.
Oh yeah, we
If
found one of the
anyone
3
knows for
people who are
sure,
missing.
It'll be her sister, Sentia, but she'd never tell the likes of me.
What's your story?
Well, it's a long one and kind of sad, but I don't mind telling it.
I have time.
I'm a farmer. Always have been. I grew up in a small village in Britannia, Camulodunum, with my parents and 2 little sisters. Lovely part of the world. One day, when I was about 20, my father and I were in the top paddock, loading our cart, when some Roman legionaries came along. demanding produce for their men. My father told me to run into the house for his axe, and so I did. Sprinted so fast I almost threw up, but by the time I got back, he was bleeding out on the ground, and our cart was empty.
So he was from Britain.
That was my first encounter with the Legion.
Interesting.
My mother died of a broken heart soon after, and things went downhill from there. I took over the farmstead, but I was young, and it was a struggle. More raiding started before too long. We'd come outside in the morning to find animals missing, our stores pillaged. These Legion thugs just took whatever they wanted.
Sounds like he doesn't
One
actually
night,
have good opinion.
When my sisters and I had nothing left to steal, there was a knock at the door. I knew who they were,
They wanted.
what they wanted.
Ooh.
I got my father's old axe, pulled the door open real quick, and before that soldier knew it, split his face right down the middle. But there were more of them. I never saw how many, because the next thing I knew, I was waking up with a mouth full of dirt and lungs full of smoke.
Oh my.
My home was reduced to ash. My sisters, dead. And they left me alive to see what they'd done. Still.
Dang, I didn't expect him to be
whenever I
this
think
deep,
about it.
have this depth. I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, well, I wasn't the only one this happened to. It wasn't long before Boudica led thousands of Britons in a rebellion against the Romans.
Fortunately.
Unfortunately, there were just too many of them. And those of us who survived, they enslaved. So then
So
I
he
found
joined
myself being
Boudica and
transported
yeah,
all the
Boudica
way
was
to
able to
Rome.
beat a Roman,
Sold
one
to
Roman
highest
legion,
bidder.
but Rome could just send
Spent
another,
a few
and
years
eventually.
working for my new master, learning the Romans' ways, Romanized my name and everything. Tried to escape a couple of times, but they always found me, and I'd just end up right back where I was.
Dang.
I'd probably still be there too, if it wasn't for the stampedes breaking out. See, about 7 months ago,
It's again more of the enormous
enormous
fire.
fire broke out in Rome. Everybody was running down toward the river, screaming and shouting. I'd never seen anything like it. Human beings acting like cattle. I got swept up with them somehow, and the rest is a blur. The next thing I knew, some stranger was dragging me out of a river. Stumbled across this place, and I started my
Yeah,
life
some
over
stranger keeps pulling them out. Got things worked out in the end.
That's what I thought too, for a while. But it seems the gods aren't done tormenting me yet. See, I finally had my own farm again, safe from the grasping hands of the Romans. Or so I thought. Until Sentius the Decurion demanded I hand over all my produce. It's for the good of us all, he says. Only he takes the best bits for himself, of course.
Probably say
He
as
even told me if I refuse
top
his demands, I'll break the golden rule. I'm not sure I believe him, but then, what if he's right? So, it turns out our dear old magistrate is no better than the Legion thugs who took everything from me. I'm right back where I began.
Dang.
But don't you worry, Nemesis is waiting, and he'll get his, one day. He'll get his. Forget I said that last part, will you? I get carried away sometimes.
Spectacle areas. Whatever.
Thanks, friend. I knew I liked you. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Was there something else you wanted to talk about?
Have you thought about running for magistrate
I bounced
yourself?
the idea around once or twice, mainly as a way of getting Dooley set free. God knows Sentius is never going to do it. But from what I hear, Malleolus has the election stitched up. Nobody's going to take him on and win. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. I mean, he talks a lot about freedom, so I'm hoping if he's elected, he'll release Dooley from his cell. And that's good enough for me.
Alright, why is Dooley in a
Because
cell anyway?
Sentius put him there. Poor Dooley was just wandering around looking for some imaginary treasure. Now a magistrate accused him of being a thief. That's nonsense, of course. Dooley's the most harmless man you'll ever meet. But Sentius really has it in for him, for some reason.
Some reason.
Gladly.
I don't think
How
nowadays
could you know that?
Malleolus is gonna help him.
I don't like the man, but I don't see how you could know a thing like that.
Guess we'll have to wait and see.
I suppose you're right.
What do you think about the election?
I can't see how I could vote for either candidate. I don't like Sentius much, but Malleolus is almost as bad. Even I could do a better job. Me, a farmer. And I've never given a speech or put on a toga in my life.
My understanding is ancient Roman togas were basically their equivalent of a suit, so they
I've
only
bounced
really
the
wore
idea
it for
around
a
once or twice. My years
show
away
and
getting
not
duly
one
set
walking
free.
around normally.
God knows Sentius is not. But. Alright.
Well, we could simply have the election now and have Malleolus do it. To simply have Malleolus win because he's going to immediately undo the golden rules. Someone will break it and immediately loses. That said, I'm still very curious about Fabia here. She's a very... Salve. She's a very big exception to the rule in terms of everyone who got here. Alright, so... let's see who's around. She weeps where the water flows. I'm producing fresh water, but where's the water coming from? Let's see. Where's the one who... That's the palace, and I can't go in there. Can't go in the palace because we just came out of there. There's nothing useful in here. Not anymore, anyways. We got what we needed. But what's interesting is that when I chose the dialogue path that led me to the palace event, it mentioned the warning you'll run into action horror segments, which is fine, but it said if you don't want to deal with those, simply feel free to turn it down. However, I felt like I got a decent amount of information out of the plot, so... But then again, this game works on a time loop, so I guess it's entirely possible that there's actually quite a bit of optional content in this game, and is this the theater? I think this may actually be the theater. Yeah. Well, I haven't been anywhere in here, so let's go into this mysterious, thing. Door locked. Find a creative way into the upper cistern. I won't be breaking the golden rule by going in there. Since the magistrate officially gave me leave to enter private homes and residences, I'm only breaking the golden rule if I stay after being asked to leave. So I'll need to keep that in mind. Great temple door.
Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life.
Actually, I need to...
All right, well, it was lovely to meet you.
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Yeah, I need to speak with him.
Oh, no. No.
I talk him down.
No. Orpheus, what are you doing?
That's the...
What?
Why do you think?
I'm...
I'm sorry.
Help him.
Alright, let's talk to him.
Thank you.
Yeah, the reason she said if her god was responsible, well, that would count as suicide as a murder, since it's classified as a murder even if it's to yourself, but it's not in the here. It's what Scintilla would want.
Know about that?
Ask how I'd
How
feel.
is
Ooh,
that possible?
was that possible?
I mean, I've never mentioned it to anyone.
Never believe me if I
Well,
told you.
If you say so.
Well, he wouldn't.
You don't understand. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want it all to be over.
Maybe I can help solve your
It's
problem.
too late for that. Yulia and I made a pact. And she's already swallowed hemlock this morning. If I backed out now, I'd be betraying her. I can't do that.
What if I can help
No.
her too?
No. Time's up. I am out.
Alright, so we need to
Wherever
stop.
you are, Scintilla, my love. I'm sorry.
Orpheus, no! I'll have to let everyone know what happened. And I guess Malleolus will have to clean up, and I'd bet...
Or Opus, but we now know how to save him. As long as she's a lot... I have to... However, I now know that I have to act quickly, because by the time I've arrived, she already ate the hemlock, which means I need to, handle it. So this is where I need what I need the key to in order. Yeah, the voices are doing what they can to help me, but they can only do so much. Alright, Octavia, I can lead her to it, but for now I need to go to an area I haven't been yet. See if I can't find something useful. Gnome here again.
Today is a sad day.
Yes, it is. Right. Right. Might as well gather a few of those. Bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Boat. A harp. Note from Livia. Cryptic, almost poetic rambling from Livia. This place is called Accursed. Here, Titus offers up his innards to be torn, stretched out over 9 fields. You Tantalus cannot catch the drops of water. The tree you grasp at eludes you. You Sisyphus, attack or pursue the stone. It always returns. Ixion turns and follows himself and flees. 49 besides, who dared the plot destruction of their cousins, their husbands, fetch again with incessant labour the water which they have lost. Listens with theirs. Oh yeah, something important we did learn about the golden rules. But by getting this bow, we discovered... Oh yeah, there's another cavern. But yeah. Oh, I can only use the bow while I can't use the bow while crouching. That makes sense. These are climbable.
What are you doing here? Please leave.
Oh, that's the fish, yeah.
I said please leave. You're trespassing.
Pluto, the Latin saying Pluto, father, riches.
I hope you're taking care of yourself.
Stone disc. Looks like it might be religious in nature. Partially eaten loaf of bread. It's still fresh. Whoever owns it probably isn't finished with it. Nothing here. Yeah, it's a shrine or a... Oh, I must have missed this one because it was dark. should have followed her manually. That would have made it easier to find, but I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, here's the theater here. Old scroll. An old scroll in which the author makes a case against the existence of the Golden Rule. Who among us has not awoken night in cold sweat, fearing some sort of accidental transgression of the Golden Rule? All of us must accept we're capable of error, whether from a momentary lapse of judgment or conscious deed based on faulty reasoning. Yet the greatest threat, the sword of Damocles, and we live under, I believe, is merely deception. I shall prove it. Let me begin dismissing counter-arguments. First could be argued the inscription saying that many shall suffer for the sins of one is evidence the Golden Rule is real. But that's logically unsound, for we can't assume the writers know any more than we did. And this message inscribed does not make it any more true, any more than if I said to inscribe Dorotus the Younger as a god. Secondly, it may be argued that the statues in this place are evident as real. You need not remind me of that, as I discovered them all around the city, as I collected them and placed in a handcart, as I placed them in the niches in which they sit today. I will not soon forget, and yet I refuse to leap the conclusion they were once real people. There's simply no evidence. Well, there is now, that's for sure. When we read the story of Venus bringing Pygmalion's sculpture Galatea to life, we do not believe it's true. Why should we take a different here? But ultimately, the arguments are just that. After years of living in fear, there's only one way for me to prove that it's false, and that's through action. Friends, I apologize in advance, but one day you'll see this moment as a turning point. Let's see once and for all if it's real as I strike one of you with my fist. Seems to be public property, so I can take that. Oh, here's the next person I need to speak to.
A new face. Ave, and may vest.
Oh, they went up here. I'm trying to find a...
Interesting. I'm not sure why you're telling me.
Just find a pattern. No, some people mentioned it.
Yes. What else?
Many mentioned an encounter with a stranger at the riverbank.
Yes, I also had such an encounter. What else?
People that mentioned memory
That's
lapse.
true. I know I wasn't entirely sure how I wound up here. It's as I feared. I think I understand what poor Livia has been going through. Let me ask you this. Did you happen to encounter a stranger in the forest before you arrived here?
Karen. I did, a young woman.
And did you happen to catch her name? I see. And was this Karen by any chance wearing a hood?
She's wearing a hoodie. How could you have known
Because
that?
I've seen her before. There's something I think you should see. I think you'd better follow me to the baths. But don't follow too closely. We can't have people thinking we're bathing together.
Oh yeah, that would be a bit of a problem, wouldn't it? Given she's the high priestess and all.
Greetings and salutations.
I see. If she goes here too early, she can be attacked by the assassin, I'd wager. Could be Pluto or Hades, as he would be better known.
All right, you're here. You were asking how I knew the young woman you met by the river was wearing a hood. Here, look down at the bottom of the baths. It's a little hard to make out in this light. If only we could see. Oh, what a marvelous lamp. But do you see it? somebody waking up by a river in a forest to find a hooded figure with a coin. It's just as you described it, only your pronunciation is a little off. The name you heard wasn't Karen. It was C-H-A-R-O-N.
Karen.
As in Charon, the ferryman of the dead.
That means Hades
Charon,
is the one.
who, in exchange for the right coin, helps the souls of the newly deceased cross the Styx, the river that separates the land of the living from the land of the dead.
When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, but all I found was some loose change.
Exchange.
Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute.
That's what she meant by dead end job with endless
Sorry
commute.
if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm so sorry. I take it you know what this means.
This place is the underworld?
I'm afraid so. It's all starting to make sense. All these people whose last memory was running from the fires toward the river. It seems none of them escaped with their lives after all.
Oh, so
Perhaps we
we're
should
all
be
already
grateful they
dead.
don't remember their final moments. It also tells us that the Golden Rule is the work of Pluto, the god of the underworld, and why his epithet has always been Father of Riches. I know it's a lot to take in, and you look as if you have questions, so I'll try to answer them if I can.
And that's a lot to take in already. So does that mean we're
That
dead?
was my first thought too. In the old stories, the underworld was where the souls of the deceased were taken. But it was also possible for the living to reach it without dying, if they were particularly
True, I
fearless.
mean,
So
Orpheus
I'm
managed to
afraid
go
I
into the
don't know.
underworld without dying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting you're not from here. If you were Roman, or even Greek, you would know these stories. Each of them is slightly different, whether the storyteller was Plato, Homer, Virgil, or Ovid. But they always involved the souls of the dead meeting a grim ferryman named Charon on the bank of a river. It was said that he'd help the new arrival cross, only if they could pay him with a coin, an obol. That's why it was once our custom to bury our loved ones with a coin in their mouths. Charon's obol, we called it. Of course, an obol was a kind of Greek coin, because we inherited this knowledge from the Greeks.
Why are there so few people here in the
Good
underworld?
question. Let's see. In the stories, Charon would always require a coin as payment for passage across the river. But that never made any sense to me. What does an ancient immortal being need with coins? In our case, it seems Charon didn't take the coins we had. He or she merely checked we had one in our possession. So, maybe there's something special about the coins each of us had on us. That might explain why we wound up here, but so many others did not.
We're trying to keep us from you?
No. I mean, I had my suspicions, especially after Livia's ramblings, but I would never have figured it out without your help. I promise you.
Why didn't anyone
To be
recognize
fair,
Karen?
The ferryman isn't exactly as the poets described, and he, she, they seem to appear to different people in different guises.
That explains it.
You say you saw a young woman named Karen with a hood, and I once heard Kabash mention a stranger in a ram headdress named Kerti, and Rufius described meeting a stranger named Kumut Tabal wearing an eagle headdress. But whatever form this stranger took, they were always wearing a hood of some sort, and their name always began with a K sound. I suspect the only way you'll solve this riddle is if your paths cross again.
No wonder. I was thinking Hades still, where they pronounced it Chiron. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to pronounce Karen. Even some even pronounce the CH as a sh sound, like Sharon.
Now that we know where we are, we have to figure out what to do about it if we don't want to be cast into gold for eternity. We don't have much to go on, except the old stories. I remember 4 in particular about heroes in the underworld. Hercules, the demigod and son of Jupiter. Orpheus, a Thracian poet, Sisyphus, a king of Ephyra, and Aeneas, a Trojan hero. Hercules was able to leave the underworld because he cowed its god with his strength. Sisyphus and Orpheus both relied on their wits instead. They persuaded the goddess of the underworld, Proserpina, to help them escape.
So Persephone's the one's
And
been helping
finally,
us travel through
Aeneas was
time.
able to escape with the help of a spirit guide, who led him through a secret gate. So it seems you have two options: to confront the god of the underworld head-on, or find a way to escape with the help of Proserpina.
This means
or
someone
some
here
other
is
god.
actually Pluto, or rather Hades in disguise. Can we just escape the way we
It's a
came in?
reasonable question, but the problem is, this place is fairly well designed to keep us here. There's no way to climb up the shaft. And even if you could build a ladder big enough, just trying it would break the golden rule. We know that, thanks to the writings left behind by those who've tried.
Interesting. Seems uncomfortable calling the god of the underworld by his name. Why is that?
Romans try to avoid saying it, and the reason is quite simple. He might hear us. You may refer to him as Pluto, if you wish, but you'll only be calling attention to yourself. Do so at your own peril.
How about we confront Hades? Okay, so we're basically gonna have to pull a Zagreus and deal with Hades head on. Well, that's one option.
Is everyone so blunt where you're from? Oh. That option would be the boldest, but also the only way to learn the truth about the Golden Rule, and maybe even put an end to it. As I said, Hercules managed to overpower the god of the underworld, but he was a demigod. Forgive my candor, but you are no Hercules.
Yeah, and you couldn't manipulate time or turn organic matter into gold, though.
Are you telling me that you can? I won't pretend to understand exactly what that means, but if that's true, then perhaps you stand a chance. So, if you want to confront him, I'll help you as much as I can. Who knows? Perhaps your name will be uttered in the same sentence as Hercules one day. But first, you'd need an audience with you-know-who, and for that, you'll need to enter the great temple overlooking the city. The problem is, the door has been sealed shut for as long as I've lived here, and there doesn't even seem to be a keyhole. I suspect the answer lies in the desecrated obelisk in front of it. I'm not sure if you noticed, but there are 4 plaques missing from its base.
Got one at
It looks as
least.
though somebody, or a series of somebodies, forcibly removed them, and in doing so, dishonored and angered our divine
That might be why the Golden
If
Rule is
you
here
could
for
recover
period.
and replace all 4 of those missing plaques, I imagine he might be willing to receive an audience again.
Can you tell me about the obelisk?
It's the towering stone monument with 4 sides and a pyramid-shaped head that stands before the great temple, a dedication to the god of this place. You'll find them all over Rome, but of course they were looted from Egypt many years ago. It seems one of them made its way here too, although how is a mystery. However, this one is unusual in that each of the 4 sides is decorated in a different style: Roman, Greek, Egyptian, and another I don't recognize.
Since this place is
That means
outside
you'll
time
need to
itself, it could be
recover 4
anything.
different plaques: Roman, Greek, Egyptian, and a 4th, a mystery plaque.
Could I find a
I
Greek
don't
plaque?
know. But perhaps you should begin your search with the local Greek fellow, Georgius. His store is in the forum. Perhaps Kabash, our Egyptian resident, will be able to tell us. Unfortunately, he disappeared weeks ago. But I did hear Aurelia is peddling rumors about him at the tavern, so perhaps you could talk to her, or just take a look in his room. I'm
Mystery
afraid
plaque.
you're on your own with that one, but perhaps finding the other 3 will illuminate the way.
Oh, I don't need to ask about Kabash because I already got the Egyptian plaque. Alright, how can we find the help of a
As I
guide?
mentioned, both Orpheus and Sisyphus were said to have persuaded Proserpina to help them escape.
This is
and
what it means by
Aeneas was
multiple
guided to
endings.
the exit. The problem is, Those are the stories of a poet, a self-aggrandizing king, and a brawler about their own heroic deeds, so they should be taken with a grain of salt. First, Proserpina. What we do know about her is, well, it's a grim tale. It's said the god of the underworld abducted and dragged her here against her will, forcing her into marriage.
She might be going to... That's horrible.
It is. The gods are a mirror image of mankind, as far as cruelty is concerned, I'm afraid. If the stories are
Yeah,
true,
it's pretty messed
I
up.
imagine she's as desperate to escape as we are. If she really did help Orpheus and Sisyphus, perhaps she'll help us too. The problem is, how do we communicate with her without being noticed by her captor? Leaving that aside for a moment, there is also the possibility of a spirit guide. I don't suppose you've come across one of those in your travels?
I hear the female statues whispering me every now and then.
And you're only bringing this up now?
Ow.
Then again, I suppose you were worried I'd think you were as mad as Navia. Can you tell me more? Is it the same voice? What kinds of thing does it say?
It's always the same voice, and she is helpful, a bit
Fascinating.
cryptic.
Perhaps she's a benevolent spirit. Or perhaps...
As we spoke with Nevia, this is the same voice, so it's definitely one person speaking through all these
If
statues.
she has indeed been abducted, it would make sense for her to speak in cryptic whispers to avoid detection. Tell me, has she told you anything that might lead you to the way out?
Said wade against the current, weeps with water
That
flow.
is strange. There are no rivers here. Let me think on that.
Perhaps we could go to the
Right.
upper cistern?
Because the current flows into the city through the aqueduct and into the upper cistern. I vaguely recall wondering what was in there, but the door at the back of the great temple is locked up tight. You might be able to get a key from the magistrate, but if that doesn't work, perhaps you can find another way in. Let me know if you find anything in there.
I'm ready to get started.
Right. I would suggest not discussing this with anyone. The best we can do for them is to let them remain oblivious for as long as possible. As for Livia, it seems she's been shouldering the weight of this terrible secret all this time. Perhaps it would comfort her to know she's not alone.
That's why she went have a
In
chat
any
with
case,
Livia.
time is of the essence, so you'd best begin. May Fortuna guide you. Although you may not need her with Proserpina on your side.
Alright, so we do have a ways to do this. Well, I will say pretty much all these plans seem pretty solid. Helping Persephone get out of here would certainly... Can't move. Alright, it's loading a bit. Honestly, the loading times aren't too bad, and I must say it's nice to be able to run through one of these with epic settings on everything. Yeah.
I hope you have a good reason for flouting my weapons ban. Ah, you've returned. Do you have any new...
I have the key to the upper cistern.
I think it's best if I hang on to it.
But why is that?
You mean to ask, why am I unwilling to trust a newly arrived non-citizen with access to our water supply, the lifeblood of this city? I'm sorry, but that is simply out of the question.
Yes, that makes sense. That's actually fairly reasonable.
Thank you. I'll be...
Alright, so we have two people who are missing. There's his daughter here, and we can tell her about her sister's lover.
Ugh, I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here. What do you want? Oh, you...
I know who she was saying it was Opus.
Oh, really? That commoner in debt bondage next door thought he could win over a magistrate's daughter. That's awfully bold of him. I can see why she worked so hard to keep it a secret. Quick, go and find him and ask him what he knows.
I spoke to him already, but it's all about the disappearance.
Oh,
I don't think he's responsible.
I see. Well, it was worth a try, I suppose. Just promise me you won't give up on her.
Alright.
Thank you.
I know reading this, Father may be young, but don't think I'm stupid. We're all entitled to our secrets. Sentia believes everyone is entitled to secrets. Only 17. You'd think there'd be more, I guess. Though I guess I can't exactly steal them. Vial containing a rudimentary perfume. Obviously, I shouldn't be taking that. Not yet, anyways.
Citizen.
Well, I guess we could reject one more deity in here, or if we want to confront him. Although helping another escape might not be too bad, especially since that'll make Demeter stop having gotten so pissed off. I mean, stop getting pissed. Well, I guess technically speaking, she's the reason winter exists. Ow.
Oh!
Ouch. Ouch. My legs.
You, Sisyphus, attack or pursue the stone that always returns.
Salve!
Keep an eye out for Santilla, would you?
Wow, isn't that a big long bow?
Name's Wolfius. Melly. Fine. What?
Nothing new here.
Don't you just love springtime?
That's...
You, Sisyphus, attack just as the ocean accepts the river, but it does not.
Figured out. I know where we are.
Say it. Speak its name.
The world.
Then it is true. I was right.
Seems you were, yes.
I thought I saw it, but when the rest of them could not, I kept thinking I must have gone insane. I had to tell myself it was true over and over again, until I wasn't sure if I was deceiving myself. I must apologize if my words seem cryptic. I'd found comfort in reciting the Metamorphoses by our great poet Ovid. He gives such an uncanny description of this place. I cannot help but wonder if he himself came here. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, that sounds really good. Sure.
I will do my best to remember the relevant verse. There is a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions. The sluggish Styx exhales vapor, and by that way, the shadows of the newly dead descend, entombed with full rites, and the ghosts of those, at last, given proper burial. The wide, thorny waste is cold and pallid, and the newly arrived shades are ignorant of the road that leads to the Stygian city, where Black Dis has his cruel palace. As the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls, and is never too small for any populace, nor notices the crowds that come.
Oh, so that's what she's been
There
quoting this
the
entire time.
bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths.
So this really is the House of Hades.
Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, and still others incur punishment. I hope I have done it justice, and now we share a secret. It's as if you've lifted a great burden from my shoulders. Thank you, friend. I think I should rest.
Lead resolve. Pandora's box has been opened. Unfortunately, I'd say Pandora's box is opened by the time we got here, so we have no choice. It's a door that cannot remain closed any longer. Yeah, health regenerates pretty fast in this game. I know regenerating health is a bit back and forth, but I'm not bothered too much by this game in particular because it's mostly story-based. In fact, the implication seems to be that the segment with Nevia there was completely optional. So, I clearly only have to do what I feel like doing as long as I figure out how to deal with Hades. Yeah. I changed the apple, but that didn't make it fall. You'd think turning into gold would make it fall. I guess not.
Greetings and salutations.
Good, he's alone.
Greetings. I'm Georgie.
I know. You want to know where I'm from, but I'd like to
My
ask you some
friend,
questions first.
Your words intrigue me more and more. But yes, very well. Ask me what you will.
I do know I might find a Greek
And in a
plaque.
city full of Romans, you are asking me? Because I am Greek. Let me tell you something about Greeks and Romans. My name is Georgios, yes. But the Romans, they do not care. They hear me say Georgios, and they think, ah, he must mean Georgius. Good Roman name. They do
Alright,
this all the time. They see us worshipping Zeus, they copy us, but call him Jupiter. They take Hades and call him Pluto.
Yeah, I guess that was a bit more relevant than I was expecting.
I am flattered that they copy our ideas, but why must they change the names? Do they want credit for making it all up? Do they want to forget where it came from? At first, I pull my hair out. After a while, I give up, and I become Georgius the Roman. I accept the world is Roman. Plus, I have no hair left to pull.
Oh, dang.
But my point is this. If you want to know who stole an old Greek name, look no further than the sticky-fingered Romans. It's time! The election's on!
Guess I should follow him. Hello, Virgil. He's busy. Try talking to him later. Alright, so I can't interrupt anyone now that we're all going to, watch the election. Alright, we're definitely going to be getting the golden rule broken very shortly, so, So yeah, time is passing just relatively slowly.
body of voters gathered here to elect the city's magistrate. The candidates are Sextus Sentius Imperiosus and Marcus Malleolus Gurges. As agreed, we shall dispense with ballots and candidates will abstain from voting. Let's make this quick. As I say your name, call your vote. I'll start with you, Horatius.
Sentius, of course.
Georgius.
Malleolus.
Dacius.
Malleolus.
Galerius.
I abstain. I'm just here to observe.
Virgil.
Malleolus.
Rufius.
Malleolus.
And finally, Domitius.
Malleolus. Who else?
Citizens, you have made your decision. Your new magistrate is Marcus Malleolus Gurges.
Hail, Magistrate Malleolus. I said, hail, Magistrate Malleolus. That's more like it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Magistrate Malleolus.
I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. And now, I make this solemn
Sentius is
promise
no longer
to
magistrate.
you, good citizens. Under my leadership, you will finally enjoy the freedom you deserve. No more shall you walk on eggshells, fearing simply to live and breathe, because the tyrant Sentius told you it was forbidden. For my first act as magistrate, I hereby announce a day of celebration to mark the end of an era. The myth of the Golden Rule is no more.
The Golden Rule is real, you idiot.
For his attempt to deceive us all, Sentius is hereby found guilty of treason against the Empire.
What? I have committed no crimes. This is madness.
His sentence: to fight for his life in gladiatorial combat against Domitius. Here and now for your entertainment.
You have no idea what you're doing. You're going to get us all killed.
Wait, I exercise my right as a Vestal priestess to pardon him. I will not allow you to do this.
You're showing your true colors now, priestess. Your corruption sickens me. Domitius, ignore her. Proceed.
This is insanity. You'll doom us all.
Lies! It is time the Golden Rule was exposed for what it is. A children's fable, exploited by a treacherous leader to instill fear in all of us.
This is why he's in his gladiator gear. They've been planning this all along.
Shut up, all of you. The magistrate has spoken. I'm going to enjoy killing you, old man.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
They ran to the shrine. Oh, but that's right. Now the statues are alive, I can go in here. Well, that honestly wasn't worth all the effort. I mean, I guess I can just allow my health to regenerate for a little bit. Yeah, I'll just let my health regenerate. This is mostly a story thing, so I don't mind there being a lack of, Yeah, that honestly wasn't worth the effort. I don't know why I bothered. It's stuck, isn't it? Yeah. Well, that was silly of me, wasn't it? There's no way out of here. Okay, good, they're in here, which means I can get out. Sort of, I'm stuck. Damn it, I couldn't move. That was a long time. The last save was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Friend, you have given me hope. May you follow in the footsteps of Hercules and return to the light of day.
Yeah, that honestly wasn't worth it.
Greetings and salutations. Greetings. I'm Joe. And in a city, I am flattered. At first, I pull my... But my point is this. If the plague you seek was pilfered from a collection of old Greek relics by none other than Duli, he cannot help it. Like a typical Roman, he likes shiny things, especially those that once belonged to my people. And besides, it makes him happy. So I say, let him keep it. I hope that our path...
Temple of Demeter.
Hello? Hello? You're going to let me... Oh. You're mean.
Ivan's going to the theater to watch the events play out. This. Opus loves Scintilla. Opus killed Scintilla. Oh my. But he couldn't have killed her because that would have broken the golden rule. Although I suppose, thanks to the, well, I guess thanks to the, Diana Temple, we now know. That is, it seems the golden rule won't be broken if there is some plausible deniability. For example, it's very clear we did something while in the dark. The lights immediately lit up as soon as we swapped the bow. So they knew I had done something, but I guess since they didn't see it and can't prove it, they didn't mark it. Probably don't want to jump down there, do I?
That's quite an impressive bow you have there. Just like
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. If I wanted another way I could enter this palace is through the vines on the side.
Domitius doesn't usually let anyone in here without a hefty tribute, so you must have been desperate to see me. Well, what do you want?
Oh, because he's traveling, I couldn't speak to him properly. He's busy. Should try talking to him again later. Don't steal anything. Alright, so yeah, it seems we're on a timer here, but interestingly, this does also mean that, find me. So that's it.
Time for Malleolus to become magistrate.
Yeah, I think something is up with Malleolus, but it's entirely possible the fact was always an extreme person. So while Nero's not exactly a good person, we'll just leave it at that. He may have been right that Quintus or whatever it is, Malleolus can't be trusted and is a very extreme person because, I mean, he becomes magistrate and his first order is to execute the previous one. Nah, I mean, removing the golden rule is one thing. Ordering execution of your opponent is absolutely something else entirely. That is way too far. Virgil looks busy. I should talk with him later.
Citizens, we have a quorate body of voters gathered here to elect the city's magistrate. The candidates are Sextus Sentius Imperiosus.
Even though this is the underworld, we don't know if Hades/Pluto is actually watching at all time. It's entirely possible that only the statue's there, because remember, when the lights... And even then, like I said, if there's deniability, there seems to be the ability to get away with it, because he obviously is not all-seeing in this area, despite it being his realm. If we were able to simply turn off the lights, switch the bows, and have him kind of look at us with a quizzical expression, but just leave us because...
Malleolus.
Malleolus.
And finally,
Demetrius.
Malleolus. Who else?
Citizens, you have made your decision. Your new magistrate is Marcus Malleolus Gurges.
Hail, Magistrate Malleolus. I said...
Points of origin, quest inventory. Oh yeah, we have the Roman plaque here. That's why we didn't need to work, but we have the Roman plaque, so we still need the Egyptian in the other one. But I added it cross over the one with... Okay, probably because we didn't get her to like us in time. So we can't respond to her flirtations if we want her to do what we hope for.
And now, I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens. Under my leadership, you will finally enjoy the freedom...
I guess it's a good thing he wore his armor. I mean, he does just leg it to the end no matter what, but a stray arrow or two won't get him, I guess. Since, as we saw from our own bow, it seems it takes a couple of hits before it completely converts the person.
For my first act as magistrate, I hereby announce a day of celebration to mark the end of an era. The myth of the Golden Rule is no more.
Golden Rule is real, you idiot.
For his attempt to deceive us all, Sentius is hereby found guilty of treason against the Empire.
What? I have committed no crimes. This is madness.
His sentence: to fight for his life in gladiatorial combat against Domitius. Here and now for your entertainment.
You have no idea what you're doing. You're going to get us all killed.
Wait, I exercise my right as a Vestal priestess to pardon him. I will not allow you to do this.
You're showing your true colors now, priestess. Your corruption sickens me. Domitius, ignore her. Proceed.
This is insanity. You'll doom us all.
Lies. It is time the Golden Rule was exposed for what it is. A children's fable, exploited by a treacherous leader to instill fear in all of us.
This is why he's in his gladiator gear. They've been planning this all along.
Shut up, all of you. The magistrate has spoken. I'm going to enjoy killing you, old man.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Death is not evil.
I can steal this since we have a moment. The portal. Interestingly, however, while the alert did go off when he said he was going to execute the previous magistrate, the fact of the matter is he hadn't actually acted on it yet. Which I think is a very important thing we need to remember. Alright, from here I need to immediately go to the hospital. Flashlight and weapons. Take care of some things urgently. You need to stop Fabio from entering an empty shrine and tell a new arrival what he's looking for in here.
Alright, let me see. Stop Fabio going in, but...
Thank you, now go fast.
But once I...
Do all this. Alright, yeah, we need to start acting. I don't think we're going to be completing the game this time around. Far from it.
You, Tantalus, cannot catch the just as the ocean accepts, but it... Say it. I will do my best. There, and now...
Alright, might as well start her off on a good note. Alright, now off to the marketplace. Should be right over here. If we hurry, we can save Julia and speak with her. Here we are.
What are you doing in here? Can't you She needs the resin of a plant called Silphium, but that Culus cumulatus decius won't give it to me.
Don't worry, I have some here. Take
What?
a little.
Quick, give it here. Yulia, you need to swallow this. Here, let me help you.
It's a bit hard to tell, so I can understand why they decided to make it clear that she did indeed give some.
In a moment, she should be able to breathe normally. That was extraordinary. How did you know she needed this exact thing, and at this exact moment? Are you some kind of oracle?
Honestly, you wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Look, if you don't want to tell me, I won't look a gift horse in the mouth. But no matter. That was like the gods hearing my prayers and intervening.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of that
Saved a
soon, that's for
person's
sure.
life, and you should be proud
Achievement
of
or
yourself.
medic.
She might even be able to thank you herself in a few moments. And maybe she can tell us who poisoned her and who she meant when she was not.
Well, there goes our buddy, the assassin.
In the meantime, I'm happy to help you with whatever it is you need.
Figured out how to treat rheumatism.
You made it into the palace. I'm impressed. How is Nevia?
She's alive, but she wants to be left alone, and the treatment is Willowbark.
Willowbark. I should have known. It was under my nose the whole time. That's very helpful. Thank you. If this works, it should settle Rufius down some. I have some right here. Could you do me a favor and give him some of this? He'll just need to swallow a pinch of it. I'm hoping it will avert disaster.
Here we are. Willowbark. Finely shaved pieces of willowbark used for medical purposes. Alright, I can do that.
Thank you. I'm really glad you arrived when you did.
Keep your own stature. Is that normal?
No. Sorry, I don't mean to worry you, but...
This is probably what I was supposed to ask at the start of the game.
Definitely not normal. There was one other person who claimed she could hear the statues talking to her. But that was Nevia, and she went a little nuts.
Well, she's one of the 3 people who went vanished, so tell more about
Well,
Nevia.
she used to run the clinic. She was until she suddenly lost all it.
If I'm
This
discovering the
changes
gold
everything.
statue, but
The
the
last
fact
time
they're
I
still
saw
alive.
her, and then she shut herself. She's been gone so long now, but I really wish I could reach one of. He's become so irritable that the smallest thing set him off, and I worry he'll end up. I just know Nevia would know how to treat him, assuming she's still alive. You did? Willow, I have some right here.
Oh, whoops, I accidentally looped her conversation to get 2 pieces of it, but no complaining. This means I have another for another timeline.
Thank you. That's a shame. Thanks again for saving Yulia's life. Apollo smiles upon you.
Salve.
Alright, here he is.
Name's Rufius.
About your rheumatism.
What business is that of yours?
I figured a treatment. Eat a pinch of this and you should feel better in no time.
Willow bark. And this will work? Oh, thank God. Finally, some relief. This is what I've been praying for. Maybe God hasn't abandoned me after all. Thank you.
Oh, and he says God and not gods.
Been in a lot of pain lately. The rheumatism, these cursed statues always watching, and the crisis of faith.
Well, I can't help you on that last one, but I can help you with the physical pain at least.
Started messing with my head. This is exactly what I needed to set it straight again. I owe you one. Can't talk long. Got to stay sharp, but family's from Solucia on Tigris, Babylon province. But I've been fine. See you around.
He's a lot less irritable now. That's good. Yep, there's our buddy, the assassin. We'll just take his money and the arrows.
For the last time, Dacius, I'm not making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
A golden bow, just like Apollo and Diana.
The gift from them, I guess you could say. Alright, Yulia, this is the person we've been needing to speak to for a while now.
Oh, it's you. Sorry, I'm still a bit out of it. But thanks for trying to help me, I suppose. Was there something you wanted? Lucretia says I'm supposed to rest.
Can I ask what happened?
As much as I'm grateful that you tried to help me.
Wants to know if someone poisoned you without breaking the golden rule.
The golden rule. That's the least of my worries. The gods may be cruel, but Malleolus and Claudia are far crueler.
Is that who poisoned you?
Please, just... Thank you.
Yeah. It's your story.
You mean my life story? Oh, well... I grew up as part of a big family in Rome. Me and 3 older sisters. Our father found good husbands for my sisters, but I wasn't, cut out for that kind of life. So he found me a job as a scribe for a prominent merchant. It was a good life for a while. Until 7 months ago when the fires came.
It's again the Roman fire.
My colleagues and I worked desperately to try to protect our warehouse. We must have had 100 workers passing buckets of water, chanting prayers to Vulcan, but they fell on deaf ears. The fire was relentless and it claimed everything and everyone. Well, almost everyone. My employer told me to grab what valuables I could and flee for the Tiber with the crowds. I remember diving into the river and then... the next thing I knew, I was waking up on the riverbank not far from here. Thank you. But to be honest, sometimes I think dying in that fire might have been a blessing. Given what's happened since.
Why, what happened here?
I can tell you, but it's a long story.
I have all the time in the world.
I'd been here about a week. When it dawned on me I'd be trapped here for the rest of my life. I could hardly breathe and I knew I had to get out somehow. So when my new friend Aurelia offered me a secret way out, I would have done anything. And then I learned her asking price. 1,000 denarii. She was supposed to be my friend. I told her it would take me years
Another
to save up
1,000
that much.
denarii.
So she suggested I take out a loan from Malleolus. And I did.
Why would he lend you so
I
much
had
money?
to sign an agreement saying I'd work off the debt over 30 years. But I figured I'd be out of here so soon it wouldn't matter. I paid Aurelia, And she gave me her so-called way out. Do you want to know what it was? Hemlock.
What's
It's a
hemlock?
deadly poison made
Oh,
from
so
a
she did
plant.
attempt to self-terminate.
Drink this, she said, and you'll be out of here in no time. Of course, I demanded my money back, but she refused. She pointed to a sign on her tavern saying, "Let the buyer beware." Then she just looked at me with those cruel black eyes and she laughed. She immediately told Malleolus I'd tried to escape without paying him back. Only, he didn't seem upset or surprised at all.
I guess that he must have expected that.
He just thanked her. And that's when I realized the two of them had planned the whole thing from the beginning.
Sure, that would have broken the golden
That's
rule.
what I said to the magistrate. I went to Sentius and begged for help, but he said the law was clear. I'd signed over my labor for 30 years and there was nothing he could do. I thought about resisting too. But Malleolus said if I didn't submit, I'd break the golden rule. And I couldn't be responsible for all those deaths, so he locked me in his villa. Confiscated everything I owned as collateral, and made me wear immodest, humiliating outfits while I worked day in, day out. His wife Claudia was just as bad. She sent me to work on an endless stream of futile, demeaning tasks. I'd be on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor clean for hours.
Dang, that's
Only
an
for her
actual
to pour
Cinderella
slop on
story
it and
there.
hiss, "You missed a spot." Those two took everything from me. But they forgot to confiscate one thing. My hemlock.
Soup boys or
I
something?
just wanted it to be over. But it seems I messed that up too. Should have drunk all of it.
So sorry to hear
I
that.
brought it on myself.
No point in blaming her
I
after this.
trusted
She
one
already
of the
knows,
most
as she
callous
mentioned here.
human beings I've ever met, and tried to swindle the other. I don't know how I could have been so stupid.
What happened to you
When
now?
I've recovered, I expect their thug Domitius will come for me. He'll escort me back to their villa, and I'll be right back where I started. Only this time, I won't be able to lull myself to sleep at night with the thought of a permanent solution. Honestly, it would have been better if the poison had been allowed to run its course. I doubt it. It seems this is the fate the gods have chosen for me, for trying to escape. At least until someone breaks the golden rule. Huh. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
Here's a better idea. How much it costs
A
for
lot.
freedom?
But it doesn't matter. I made a suicide pact with Ulpius last night. He's in exactly the same position as I am. Malleolus and Aurelius set the same trap for him.
Oh,
a
because his
month
girlfriend was
after they
gone
did it
missing,
to
and I
me.
bet they have her
He and
kidnapped
I
somewhere.
are in this together. He's probably already thrown himself from the bluff into Malleolus's villa by now. If so, I'd never be able to live with myself, knowing I broke my promise to him. I doubt you could make it up to the bluff in time. I don't know who you are, or why you seem so determined to help me, but thank you.
Get right on it. I guess I'll have to ask the other questions later. I'm gonna have to hurry. But I should be able to make it. Alright, looks like he's thinking through a bit. So we have a little bit of time, but not too much. We have to do this immediately upon the reset, and I imagine this is intentional so that we can get all this stuff out of the way right away, and I can do the rest later.
Salve, friend. Welcome.
Actually, I need to speak to
All right,
Wilbus.
well, it was lovely to meet you.
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. No. No, 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 no. Orpheus, what are you...
That's the
What?
Why do you think
I know things. Please,
I'm sorry, but
please, help him.
I'll talk to him. Is this what's until
you...
I believe
Well, you don't understand.
I can solve it.
If I backed out...
Creature was able to get some Sylphium to save her life. She's
Oh,
gonna be fine.
Really? That changes things a little. But we're still in debt bondage to that monster. Unless you happen to have 2,000 denarii to pay off both of our debts.
Wait, why do you need 2,000?
Yulia and I are in debt bondage to Malleolus. We might as well be slaves.
How'd you get yourselves into debt?
Oh, I am out. Wherever you are. Scintillum, my love. I'm sorry.
Orpheus, no!
Ah, darn it. Darn it. And damn it at the same time.
That was not your... I'll have to... And I...
Well, at least we know, thanks to his, sacrifice.
Thank you.
And get back in here.
Delighted and deeply honored. Did you just leap into my villa? That was... Well...
I want you to withdraw from the election.
Are you insane? Why would I...
As soon as you win, you're going to break the golden rule.
Don't talk nonsense. There's no such...
You're going to arrest Centaurus for treason and sentence him to
How
death by...
could you possibly know that?
That is none of your
I don't
business.
know how you know about my plans. And now, I'm going to... Now, get out of here! Get out of my...
I should probably just screw it and have 1,000. Where's the exit? Here it is. Oh yeah, here it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
His arm's injured.
What now? Whatever. Hey, Horatius. How's it feel knowing your man's doomed to lose the election today?
If you're trying to goad me into an argument, it won't work. I'm stoic, remember? You did something to that poor sweet girl. Not even the golden rule is gonna protect you. Got it?
Huh. As if I'd be afraid of you, little man.
These are climbable. Second floor. How do I get into the... In fact, these are just low enough that I can't crawl through them. Means I need to find another solution, it seems. What?
Isn't the great temple majestic?
Oh. Fine. See.
Graffiti sinner. Virgil, I haven't spoken with him too much yet, I don't think.
Ah, a new face. Salve, and welcome to a little community. My name's impossible to pronounce for most people, so you can just call me Virgil. I hear we have you to thank for saving Julia's life. I'm glad you arrived when you did.
It's your story.
Well, I'm an architect. Or at least I was back in Rome. That's probably too grandiose a term to describe what I do here. Help out with repairs and try to stop old buildings from collapsing on people, that kind of thing. But you probably don't want to hear about the ingenious architecture or mysterious history of this place.
About the city's history.
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Some of these shrines were constructed hundreds of years ago, which means Romans have been arriving here for at least that long. But there's one thing that puzzles me. The oldest shrine in this avenue isn't Roman at all. It's Greek.
The copy Romans, the copy Greek
Well, yes,
architecture.
that could be the reason. Or it could mean that there were Greeks living and worshipping here before the Romans arrived. Which begs the interesting question, who really built this place? And could it be far older than any of us imagine? If only there was a way we could talk to the people who came here before us. The stories they could tell.
Start with the
Gladly.
architecture.
Personally, my favorite thing about this place is the aqueducts. Those series of adjoining arches. They're an ingenious feat of Roman engineering with a very practical purpose. They take fresh water coming from outside the city and distribute it all across the chasm. It's funneled below the palace and into a cistern beneath the great temple. Some of it flows down into another cistern beneath the villas, and the rest is funneled to the shrine of Proserpina, where it fills the lake and allows us to fish and farm.
That's actually pretty interesting. If they bring the water in the city, could we use them to escape?
Hey, not so loud. Just talking about that could anger the gods for all we know. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you'd have to find a way inside somehow. Just, please, try to be a bit more discreet about it.
Tell me about the temple up
The
there.
great temple? This one's a bit of a mystery. Given the way it's positioned so prominently, looking down on us, it's clear that whoever built it felt it was the most important temple in the city. Unfortunately, someone else went out of their way to keep its purpose a mystery. You see, usually a temple is dedicated to a particular god, like Proserpina or Diana or Apollo. Usually, that god is obvious. But in this case, it's
Temple to the unknown.
There's an obelisk out the front, which probably used to bear the name of this unknown god. But it appears some barbarian defaced it. And of course we can't get inside because it's locked up tighter than the Temple of Saturn in Rome. And that contains the treasury. So we're all left wondering, which god is that temple dedicated to? And could it be the one responsible for the Golden Rule? Unless somebody figures out a way inside, I suppose we'll never know. Of course.
Just graffiti. Why does someone seem to think you're
I
a
haven't
sinner?
done anything wrong, if that's what you're thinking. Somebody just has a problem with my preference for male company.
I prefer the company of men. Who doesn't?
Hey, nothing gets by you, huh? Sorry, that was mean. Yes, I like men. And when you grow up in the north, as I did, in the city of Noviomagus, you expect a bit of hostility.
Yes, that was a Simpsons reference.
The Batavi are not known for their tolerance. I saw enough friends killed or driven away to know the cost of not keeping your personal affairs to yourself. So I hid who I was for, what was it, nearly 10 years? Watching what I said and where I looked. But that kind of fear eats away at you slowly, until living isn't any better than the thing you were afraid of. Needless to say, since I'm now living underground, halfway across the known world, with an assumed name, my openness didn't go down well among the enlightened folk of the Batavi.
I'm sorry to hear
Nice
that.
of you to say, but not necessary. In any case, the Romans are far more accepting, and among them, I get to be who I am. Or at least, I thought that was the case. It seems I was wrong.
Who's writing it?
It's not just graffiti. I have quite a collection of handwritten notes too. The strange thing is, I keep my personal affairs to myself. I've never really been interested in any of the men here. Not my type. So I'm not sure what I could have done to upset this person. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably one of those cultists.
Cultists?
Strange bunch. They insist there's only one god, and that he considers my nature a sin. Can you believe that? If there are any of them here, they won't admit it. Not since they supposedly burnt down half of Rome last year and went into hiding. All I know is, if these threats keep escalating, eventually my secret admirer is going to cross a line and break the golden rule.
Alright, there's two people at the very least I know who are in that. I'm not 100% sure yet.
Let's hope so.
What do you think of the golden
Some
rule?
people say it's divine, the work of a god. But I'm not so sure. It just seems so flawed to me. Like it's distinctly human. I mean, once you've been here long enough, you'll notice people doing things that just seem so wrong to you. But this so-called god doesn't seem to care. Which means one of two things. Either you don't know the difference between right and wrong, or this unknown god doesn't. And I'm pretty sure I know the difference. Do you?
I'm not sure.
Fair enough. Well, Malleolus is talking about loosening some of the restrictions in this place. And while it's all a bit vague, at least he has a vision. My vote isn't for sale, if that's what you're asking. You wouldn't believe how often the new ones ask that question. But
I guess it's an obvious question to be asking, right?
Everyone else. There are much worse places to live out your days. You might have a few sleepless nights thinking about the golden rule, but once you get used to the fear, knowing that a single slip-up could cost you everything, it's not too bad. Nothing new to me, anyway. Oh, I just mean I grew up in the Batavi tribe, far to the north in Novio Magus, and learned to expect a bit of hostility. They weren't nearly as tolerant as the Romans.
How are we going?
Nice to talk to you.
So we have something going on in here. There's a few things I think I might be able to do to keep things interesting here.
I love your clothes. Oh, they're... Oh, I see. You prefer... Let's just forget that ever happened.
Big kibosh. We see.
Not for a few weeks now. Last time I saw him, he was sitting at a table with Georgius, whispering about some... I remember, because they kept looking over their shoulders, as if they didn't want anyone else to know.
Yeah, I didn't want to piss her off right when I need to ask this.
Bothered. The one word I kept hearing was vanishing, and then, the next day, Kabash just disappeared. Coincidence? I think not. All right. See.
No point in rocking the boat at this juncture. But I will. You can rest assured I will be. She will be getting hers once I expose everything. Alright, so I come back here when I need to. Relief of Prospina. A relic depicting a great circular portal and Proserpina, a Roman goddess of cycle of life and renewal. Her story is a grim one. It said she was abducted by Pluto and forced into marriage against her will. Even though Hades/Pluto was not exactly an abusive husband, that doesn't change that his marriage was technically a non-consensual one. Which, kind of messed up, really. Especially given Zeus/Jupiter, had a consensual marriage, but he is anything but faithful. Although I'm sure he'd just be hello, dedicating to single partner is a mortal thing. You cling to each other, or due to your short lives. Guess it's not like I can it's not like I could be a fair, impartial judge of the guy, anyways. Okay, let me think. Oh, there's the person I'm looking for.
Salve again, friend. How is it possible that you've just arrived here and you already know everyone and exactly what's about to happen to them?
You'd never believe me if I told you.
Come on. I just did as you asked.
Come with me. I'm better at leaving the same day over and over again.
You're toying with me, right? Wait. You're not kidding, are you? That's the only way you could have known. You're a bit like... Oh, what was his name? Sisyphus. Yeah, that's the one. Old King Sisyphus.
Huh, how so?
Sisyphus was a Greek king a long time ago. For daring to think he could outsmart the gods, he was given a terrible...
To be fair, he did outsmart the gods. They were just terrible. I love it.
As it reached the top, it would roll all
Well, not
the way
even
back
that.
down to the bottom, forcing him to start over and over and over again for all eternity. Just like you. Actually, now that I think about it, there are a bunch of old stories about the gods punishing people by making them do the same futile task over and over.
It's a very
Tantalus
relatable
was
punishment,
made to
that's for
grasp
sure.
a fruit on a tree he could never quite reach. The Pleiades had to keep fetching water in a sieve. Oh, and Ixion was strapped to a wheel going round and round forever. But on the bright side, at least you're not stuck in the underworld like they all were.
And go on.
Anyway, I don't know which god you managed to upset to get yourself into this position, friend, but you seem all right to me. So, I'll tell you what. I'll keep doing whatever I can to help you. And you just focus on finding a way to break the cycle you're in.
You're a good man.
Oh, that's kind of you to say. Now, I'm going to keep your secret. Although, it's not as if I'll remember this next time we talk anyway, right? Oh, and if our conversations ever start to annoy you, just tell me you're busy. I know when I'm not wanted. May fortune smile on you, friend. Salve again, my... Now.
I
bounced the but...
Malleus runs is gonna break the golden rule to kill us all. Oh, you've seen it.
You've seen it.
Oh, because he believes me in the time loop, he knows.
In that case, we need to find a way to make sure Malleolus loses. Better yet, get him to withdraw altogether. If you can do that, and Sentius is the only candidate left, I'll run against him. Deal? Alright, friend. Hope you find...
Citizen.
I guess I could. Alright. I need to reset this timeline. To do so, I could simply break the golden rule myself and force the change then. I'm sure most people wouldn't be too bothered if I chose to break it by firing an arrow at Malleodeus, for example. Or I could simply steal...
Hey! You're not thinking about going into the cistern, are you?
Oh, that's a cistern, you said? I wasn't, but now I am.
Contrary little cap at murder, aren't you?
Why shouldn't I go down there?
Nobody's told you about Hannibal? Ugh, why do I have to do everything round here? So, there was this guy called Hannibal, right? Funny accent. Used to go down into the cisterns looking for junk he could clean up and sell. One day, a few weeks back, he comes out and tells me the cisterns are haunted. Said he could hear spirits wailing. Of course, nobody believed him, because who trusts a Carthaginian, right?
Roman Carthage had a huge rivalry,
He goes
so...
back in, and hours go by, And he hasn't come back out, yeah? So I go down after him, and it's dark. But in the distance, I can just make out his body, sprawled out on the ground. And hunched over him was something that made my blood run cold. No word of a lie. I saw a creature. Like the corpse of a man who'd been flayed. And it was eating Hannibal.
Wouldn't that have broken the golden
If it
rule?
was a man, maybe. But I swear on my life this was no man. More like a Strix. Or some Versipelus that feeds on human flesh. I didn't stick around to see which.
What did you do?
Well, any sane person would have done. I legged it out of there and put a sign at the door to warn the others.
I think I'll give it a miss.
Good idea. What? What?
Alright, looks like we're gonna be fighting here, so let's get our bow ready. I suppose there's no point in wasting this timeline since I've already screwed it up pretty badly. Yeah, that must have been what killed Hannibal. We know these guys are not tied to the Golden Rule in any way, shape, or form. Roman woman in the middle of disrobing as if she'd been visiting the baths. Roman man holding up one arm, he's either greeting someone or surrendering. Roman woman going up her hands of pursuing unseen. Okay, these are the golden bow, they should become climbable. Alright, so yeah, that guy's here entirely to Lunar Pendant. It says the inscription on the back there is Sen Diadef. It is not a owned item, so I should be able to take it. See. Good cash. I guess it's probably a little easier to jump across that, but oh well. Might as well take as many of these arrows as I can hold. I used a decent amount in these action sequences. I do appreciate that I don't have a sprint meter or whatever to worry about. Crushed creature. An amazing human-like creature splattered in gold. It appears to have been crushed to death while entering the cistern from the cave beyond. Yeah, this is where I wanted to go. I need to head over to the new area here. And definitely climb up this, so let's do precisely that. Where is this water coming from? Here. Gotta get to the upper cistern. Captive.
You. Who are you? Did he send you?
I'm Dr. Jones and nobody sent me.
You're here. You have to help me escape before that monster comes back.
What's going on
I'm
here?
Centilla. I found a way out through the Gate of Horns, but it's locked. So I told him about it, and instead of helping me escape, he locked me up. He wants to keep us all here forever, or until we're turned to gold. He's a monster. You have to let me go so we can kill him and take his key.
How hasn't this broken the golden
No.
rule?
He said the gods are on his side because they don't want us to escape either.
Who did this to you?
Sentius, my adoptive father. Furies
Sentius
help
did
me.
it.
I'll castrate and crucify him.
Where's the
Behind
way
me,
out?
there's an aqueduct tunnel bringing water from outside the city, so it should lead us outside. The only problem is it's barred by a heavy locked gate, and he has the only key.
What do you do if I release
I'm going to take that key from around his neck, even if it means cutting his throat to get it. I'm done caring about the golden rule. I just want out. Help me, and we can escape together.
What are the others?
There won't be enough time. Just you and me. What do you say?
What if I round up everyone so they're ready to escape then once the rule's broken?
There's no time. Wait, did you hear that? He's here. Quick, you have to let me go. It's now or never.
If you dare, everyone's gonna go.
No.
Oh, there's rational escapism with Leslie.
I hate you.
And Centaurus about it. Yeah, statues are watching. I do intend to free her, but the fact of the matter is she's just gonna... If she kills him, I won't be able to use the time warp. Oops. Of course, I could intentionally cause the time warp here. Oh, so it seems Mallory is not the only one here that's corrupt. Hate to leave her there, but she also is intending to kill my only ticket out of here to reset the timeline.
So you survived the cistern. Probably just a stroke of fortuna. Don't get cocky.
I hope you have a good We're finally alone. Is that...
Have the conversation too.
Seems rather brash.
No, it isn't.
Me?
Keeping her tied up in the cistern.
You know, you remind me of him.
Who?
Al Worth. The fellow who came through the portal before you.
You remember him?
Come now. Surely you didn't think you were the only one here who remembered everything. You see, my connection to the portal somehow preserves my memories from one loop to the next. Whether that was Proserpina's intention or a happy accident, I'll never know. But I'm surprised you hadn't noticed. Here I was thinking you're a little bit sharper than Al was. Or perhaps you're just more willing to break the rules. He was a moralistic fellow, never once compromised on his principles. And because of that fatal flaw, he relived this day many thousands of times before we finally had this conversation. I watched him come through the portal each time, always a little older, a little more disheveled, a little more haunted. And when he finally saw the futility of it all, as you're about to, it broke him. He drank a jug of wine, tied a noose around his neck, and took his own life, just before he was shot with a golden arrow. The next time I awoke, you showed up, but you've caught up to where he was so quickly.
Was it really that hard?
You've lived through the day, what, 4 times? Extremely impressive. And yet everything you've done has been in vain, because there's no escape, except the path that Al took, the path he wrote about on his tablet. What was it? Ah, yes. Best to take your own life now. So, you discovered my secret. So what? What are you going to do about it?
Well, you knew there was a way out, even thought to keep a secret. Why is that?
Isn't it obvious? Because I have grown attached to all this. My title, my beautiful villa, the sun on my face, the music of birds chirping. And as long as this day keeps repeating itself, I get to enjoy it all, over and over again, for eternity. Don't you see? I have found a way to prolong my life indefinitely, to cheat death. I have become, in effect, as immortal as the gods. Can you honestly say you would not wish the same for yourself?
Thank you for the exit.
Why would I agree to that?
Well, so it stops me taken by force is the golden rule. Oh, this isn't over.
I certainly hope not. In fact, I want it to go on and on forever, until you wither and die like Al did, and the gods send yet another useful idiot to extend my life for me.
This isn't over. Well, both of these are extremely threatening, so what happens if I just kill you?
We both know you're not that stupid, so go on, make your empty threats and stomp your feet, and beg the gods for help.
So this explains why Charon and Hades wanted me to stop him.
The gods don't care about you, and neither do I. Now, get out of my villa, I'm bored with you.
Heroes most likely break the golden rule.
So you survived the cistern. Probably just a stroke of fortuna.
I was actually wondering if maybe the priestess would remember stuff between timelines, but no. It was him the whole time. Granted, I probably should have realized, because she did mention some things sounded off to her. But I guess this explains why Hades had Charon bring people in here, hoping eventually someone could find a way to break the cycle. Well, because Hades doesn't like when humans obtain immortality, even when it's only by technicality. Asclepius discovered that the hard way.
How are you doing today?
I'm sad. Am I going to die in here?
I don't think so, my friend. It's election day today. Perhaps our new magistrate will be kinder than Sentius and let you out.
I hope so. Galerius, what happened? Hello. Have we...
How about that Greek?
Do you like it?
Please have it. Are you sure I need it for something very important? Alright, what will it take?
Well...
Magistrate.
I don't think he likes me. Yeah, Galerius will let me out. Then you can have... Bye-bye.
Oops, I interrupted his conversation with Galerius, and so Galerius went off. Alright, so I need to figure out how to get him out of here. given he has to sacrifice himself to create the portal and properly make a time loop each time.
So you survived the system.
I hope you have a good reason for flouting my weapons.
Fear is proof of a degenerate mind.
Oh.
Found her. Your father's been keeping her
What
sister.
is...
It's no joke.
No. Father!
I'm afraid it is.
I...
Because she found a way out. And if you're wondering why I'm telling you this, it's because you're never going to remember any of it.
I figured something like this might happen, but I want to see it.
Do is commit a sin, and the day will begin again. Watch this. I'm going to kill you now.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Help me!
Okay, so simply threatening someone counts. But dang, how did it take Al thousands of years to look in the cisterns? Thousands of days, I mean. I'll give me my next day in the sun. Apparently sacrifices his outfit, and that's why I can't just loot his body for the item I need. Interesting, so he does... It's entirely possible he does know what constitutes a sin and what doesn't.
Salve, friend.
Golden rule's gonna be broken soon. Probably get everyone except Sentius ready to the upper cistern when the ground starts to rumble. I read... Oh man, am I gonna get out already? I should probably do some more things in this timeline first. I can... What I need here.
Oh, sounds sick. All right, let me see. Stop. Yulia. Oh no. Poor guy. I'll go.
Alright, I need to get the key to the cistern, so let's...
The 49 melodies fetch again, with incessant labor, just as the... and now...
I probably should have tested to see what would happen if I point out others who might be willing to break the golden rule. Gee. Priestess, I assume. Alright, I need to head over to the temple. Let's go and stop the jump. Let's see here. Inventory. Plural denarii, an ancient Roman coin made of silver. Seems like any number of these paths. However, it seems because there's multiple endings, I'll definitely need to, Alright, let's see if I can talk him down.
Oh no. No. No, 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 no.
That's...
What?
Why do you... I'm sorry.
Please, help.
You... Well, you... Oh,
Actually...
Really? Wait.
No, you'd be free.
You'd do that.
We're strangers.
It seems today we are both blessed. This did not turn out how I thought. Thank you, friend. I never thought people like you existed.
Counselor,
Thank you. I just wish there was some way I could repay you. I'll go and take care of things with Malia.
What, 4 days? Zip lines are pretty fun. Oh, not sure how did I stub my toe on that or something?
Salve, Rufius. I hear you've been
Salve.
suffering from rheumatism. Sorry to hear about that, friend.
What? My condition is nobody's business but mine.
There's no need for that. I just wanted to give you this willow bark to help you treat it.
A treatment? Really? Thank God. Finally, some relief after all this time. You're a good man, Galerius.
Appreciate that. Now, I've got to run.
Well, that's gonna make him vote for Galateus. Alright, so I'm keeping that. Let's see here. So, okay, so I'm keeping these even when I give them out. Okay, good to know.
Salve, how?
Live the same day over and over.
You're a bit Sisyphus. Sisyphus, he would force Tantal. Oh. Anyway, so. Anytime. Now, I'm going to. Oh, and if our conversation. So, now. But.
I'm gonna break.
And how could you.
Oh, we've seen another time.
Well, if you can do that.
Alright.
Alright.
Alright, since I talked him down, I have to go through the front door. Should be pretty easy. I got the key.
Thank you. Domitius doesn't usually let anyone in here without a hefty tribute, so you must have been desperate to see me. Well, what do you want?
Withdraw from the election.
Are you insane? You barred. Why would I with...
As soon as you're going to break the
Don't talk nonsense. There's no such thing.
arrests and...
How?
I know all of your secrets.
Nonsense. I don't know. And now...
Okay, so I just have to say that... actually, this is probably the one place where threatening to kill him actually will work as intended, because in doing so, it means we don't believe in the Golden Rule any more than he does. By extension, that means, since he thinks that it's bunk... Finishing act. Oh.
I'm not supposed to be in here.
It's been here.
Talk.
Why are you locking this
My
room?
marital affair. I think it's about to be broken, if preferably the way. I think a better question. I have quite enough marriage trouble.
And my husband while receiving strange men.
Hi, this is outrageous.
Alright, so yeah, I do know all of his secrets. I guess I should have realized this sooner. Of all the people who would be attempting to break the golden rule, well, no, they could have unknowingly done it this whole time, but I can't believe I didn't realize there could potentially be someone who was also keeping memories of the timeline changes. The fact I didn't even think about that, dang. So he's the one who makes sure that the golden rule is broken each and every time. This is fine, that's good. Arrows have drop-off in this game. Oh, yeah, I've noticed that subtly throughout the whole time. So there's a decent amount of cash everywhere, I just need to pay attention for it. Alright, so I can think of a few endings. You found a blatant exit.
Citizen.
Salve.
There we are. That's a really important one to get because that's 1,000 denarii right there, then and there.
Ah, a visitor. Welcome, welcome. Citizens, tell me.
Looking for the placards removed from the obelisk.
Ah, yes, that cursed thing. I know exactly where it is. I will tell you everything I know, but first, a request. I have been living down here alone for many years, with nobody to talk to but myself. The one thing I long for above all else before I die is a good philosophical argument with somebody astute. Let us... Excellent. I see you are indeed quite astute. Very few come to that realization before their time in the sun is over. Now, will you join me in a friendly Socratic dialogue?
I have to.
Good enough for me.
Good enough for me.
Now, let me begin with a question. Would you say you know the difference between right and wrong?
That's a complex question.
You are an overthinker too. We're the same then. It is probably why I became a philosopher. But if you struggle with right and wrong normally, then down here with the golden rule, surely your struggle can only have become more difficult.
I guess so.
Well, that's reassuring. And the truth is, you're not alone. You see, out there in the world, being uncertain about right and wrong was acceptable, because our mistakes rarely had consequences.
I'm not sure I'd agree with
we
that.
would
But...
tell lies and
okay,
bend
yeah,
rules
I get what he's getting
and
at
turn
now.
a blind eye and rationalize, and yet still find a way to think of ourselves as good people. But under the golden rule, morality matters. The slightest wrongdoing could result in a mass execution. So to navigate this maze, we would have to be certain about the difference between right and wrong. Wouldn't you agree?
Whose version right or wrong?
That is an excellent question, and it leads directly
Yeah, that's
to
the
my
main
next
thing.
line
It's
of
who's right and
inquiry.
wrong,
So
because that
let me
determines what it is
ask
or
you
not.
this. Is there one system of morality which is always perfectly correct, which you could follow in every situation and always do the right thing?
I'm sure there's thousands of different takes on this. I don't think so, because what's going to be holy to one is blasphemy to another.
Are you sure? Or is it possible that humans simply haven't figured out the right system yet?
Possible. Either of these is perfectly possible. Be sure. I suppose we might not have figured it out yet. But...
after hundreds of years, and as many great thinkers dedicating their lives to these questions, what hope do we have if our best and brightest haven't been able to answer them?
This feels like something out of Endwalker.
Good. Never discourage anyone who continually makes progress, no matter how slow. Would you say you know the difference? You are an but if you... well, that's reassuring. You see, so, but under... so... that is an so... how can that be? Since they all have differences, it follows that in some cases they would offer different conclusions about what is right and wrong. If there is a correct moral code, then wouldn't it follow that only one can be the correct?
Correct moral code depends on laws. Maybe there is no correct.
Are you sure? Or
there's no such
so
thing.
is it up to each of us to decide what right and wrong?
Today, this is definitely one I'm absolutely unsure of. This is more individualist. This is more communist answer. Communal answer.
Good. Never would you. You but. Well, you so but so. That is. Are you? After what? My point is this. I don't think anyone alive.
Sure, I ain't about that. I mean, what about stuff like
Surely
doing
you
kill?
would agree there are circumstances where an exception may be made, such as where it is necessary for self-defense or to prevent a greater evil. For any rule, you can imagine there are countless situations in which that rule may be suspended, and those situations are impossible to codify.
Now,
If
hard
there
and
is
fast
one
rules are a
thing
bit
I have
difficult.
observed about rules, it is that virtuous people do not need them, and evil people will always find a way around them. And so we must accept our limitations, and the sad truth that no human society will ever achieve the utopia for which it strives. In mathematics, we would call it an asymptote, a line that can be approached but never reached.
Actually, a pretty
Because the
good
only
way
way
to
to
explain
create a utopia is with the ever-present threat of force, such as the Golden Rule. This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs when he first appears as a protector. And life under tyranny is no utopia at all.
Guess I get where you're coming from, yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. In any case, thank you for humoring an old man. I would be happy to answer your questions. You mean, how did I end up living alone in this cave with nothing but these relics of the past for company? It's a long story.
Listening?
I was a quarrelsome young man. At 19, I left Corinth for Rome to study rhetoric at one of her finest academies, so I could argue more forcefully. Back then, I used to enjoy verbally sparring with everyone I could, and I was good. One night, I found myself in a tavern in an argument with a drunk mercenary. It became heated, he drew a gladius, and I won the argument, but lost my life. I woke up on the banks of the Styx at a campfire opposite Karen. Of course, I tried to persuade her to let me return, but even with all my skill, I failed. I settled in, made friends, and learned what I could, quickly realizing our little community faced certain death under the Golden Rule. So I began looking for a place to hide underground. Fortunately, I found this place waiting for me. You see, I was not the first to take refuge here. I returned to my friends above, persuaded them to join me, and 12 of us descended for the last time to live out our days hidden from Hades' tyranny. They are one and the same. The Romans call him Pluto, but long before that, my people called him Hades.
The hermit philosopher. Why can't you return the
My
service?
generation was wiped out, turned to gold, many years ago. My friends and I were able to avoid the same fate by hiding down here.
My.
I think it's safest to assume that if I was to return, Hades would realize that his furies hadn't finished the job, and he'd send them after me.
Alright, so yeah, he actually does have to be able to see it.
I fear that if you were to utter my name in the city, even by mistake, that Hades would hear you and know I am still alive.
That makes sense. Where's everyone else?
I'm afraid I am the only one left. There were 12 of us in the beginning, but one by one, my friends passed away.
But aren't we
Some
already
from
dead?
malnutrition, others from madness and despair. It has been lonely. Before my unexpected visit from Kabash some weeks ago, I'd not seen another person in many years.
How long have you survived out here?
Living in darkness is not without its challenges. The first challenge is diet. Fortunately, I found that eating fresh fish provides most of the nutrients I need. And sometimes, when there are Greek people living up above, I surface at night and salvage the offerings they've left in the temple of Demeter. The greater challenge is the isolation, so I like to imagine arguments, where I argue both sides. But, like so many things in life, arguments are better with a partner. As you wish.
What do you think about
Did we not discuss it at length already? Oh, I see. You're
Yeah, he did.
toying with me. Ha.
Where can I find Kamash?
I will tell you, but you may find him hostile. To prepare for your encounter, there are certain things you must know. Very few know this, but before the Romans came to this city, it was once entirely Greek. The architecture, the temples, and the people. When the Romans came, in typical fashion, they claimed it as their own, built over everything that could be built over, and renamed the things that could not. Thus, the Shrine of Persephone became the Shrine of Proserpine. And when they found an obelisk bearing the name Hades, they tore it off and replaced it with Pluto instead. and the city's dwindling Greek residents, witnessing this compulsive Roman conquest,
Compulsive is
decided to
probably
preserve
accurate.
what they could of their heritage. They gathered their art and
Obsessive compulsive with
valuables, secreted them away through the Temple of Demeter, and hid them here, out of reach.
So this is the Demeter Temple. You so far?
However, there was one thing that always seemed out of place to me, and it is the very thing you seek. An even older plaque bearing an Egyptian inscription.
Older plaque. What'd it say?
I had no idea until years later, when the first of my friends began to die. As a result of their deaths, we began to dig catacombs branching off from this cavern to lay them to rest. We extended the tunnel so far that we accidentally discovered another, an even older tunnel, which somebody had gone to great lengths to keep hidden. Suddenly it made sense why there was an out-of-place Egyptian plaque among our people's possessions. You see, we proud Greeks had thought the Romans beasts for stealing and corrupting our heritage. But it turns out this game has been going on much longer than any of us imagined. I think it is best you head through the catacombs and follow Kabash's trail.
Wait, so Hades is Anubis too? What's in
There
there?
are certain things you must see for yourself. Take this key. You'll need it to open the gate.
Alright, I'll be going now.
I enjoyed our chat, but please, keep my presence here a secret, yes?
Alright, I will. I see no reason to betray what's probably one of the closest things I can call to a friend. Friend of the philosopher. Must be one of the philosopher's 11 friends who we outlived. But that's the thing, aren't we all already dead? How can we die again? That doesn't make sense. Unless this really is more of a purgatory. Here. Yeah, I can't believe I went through those tunnels thinking, okay, I would need to watch out for hidden passages, but then I ended up missing one. Guess there's enemies here. Broken Egyptian statue. Remains a broken statue, Egyptian vase. An Egyptian clay vase decorated with animals of geometric patterns with something of value inside. An Egyptian clay vase, it now contains nothing but sand. Vase of arrows, Egyptian vase. Clay vase decorated with animals, this was built to last. Egyptian board game for an ancient game called Senate, the rules for which are long forgotten. First things first. Is there anything in here? Can I open these doors? Seems to be locked from this side. Okay, so I'm going to be doing the thing I was doing in Sekiro. I'm going to go around and unlock a shortcut back here. That's okay. Oh, man. Oh, I was worried if this was heat, but no, that's water. This is an oasis? Yeah, these are all statues of people. Egyptian. So before the Greeks were here, the Egyptians were. Egyptian plaque, which translates to "the many shall suffer for the sins of one." Oh. So alright, so it seems that this little, lack of a better term, project has been going on longer than expected. A collection of Egyptian bronze-bladed hard-working tools.
Stop. Do not come any closer. Who are you?
I'm Dr. Jones. Who are you?
I am Kabash. And let me guess. Another
Sleuth.
Greek or Roman come to loot and plunder the resting place of my ancestors,
Feel a Greek or Roman to you?
Trousers, boots, curious here. No, I suppose you do not. Then what do you want?
Looking for an Egyptian plaque.
To what end?
I wish to return it to the obelisk.
That is welcome news. You really are not Greek or Roman, are you? I was planning to return it myself, but for now, I must remain. Here, take it, and restore the honor of Osiris.
A plaque bearing the hieroglyphic inscription Osiris, Lord of Silence. Thank you.
Now, as for the other plaque.
He knows where it is. Oh, do you know about that?
Indeed, I have it right here. I stumbled across a collection of dusty curiosities while searching for a place to hide from the hungry children of Amit, and there it was.
May I have it?
You may not. In fact, I am about to destroy it.
Why is that?
Because it speaks a treacherous, blasphemous lie.
How so?
I will tell you, but first, do you know what this place is?
Do I?
Indeed, and I see you know our history. This
I'm an archaeologist. I get some unique dialogue options.
See what has become of it. I have been down here for weeks, piecing together its story, and here is what I have learned. As Egypt declined and the Greeks had their turn to flourish, their souls came here in great numbers, but instead of adopting our ways, they copied and corrupted them. When they found the obelisk bearing the name Osiris, the true god of the underworld, they desecrated it, removing his name and replacing it with Hades. Even the ferryman of the dead, known to my people long before as Kerti, they renamed to Keron. As if that desecration was not enough, they built over this place, using it as the foundation for their own underworld, so that ours was forgotten. My only solace is that the Greeks then suffered the same fate when the Romans rose to power, renaming Hades to Pluto, and the cycle began anew.
I can see why you're being happy
I
with
am
Greeks
glad
and
to
Romans
hear
then.
it. Which brings me to this other, fourth plaque. It is inscribed with a script I do not recognize, but it is ancient, almost as if it is older than the plaque bearing Osiris.
So we had a name before Osiris as well.
If that is so, it would imply the gods of Egypt are mere imitations too, copied and corrupted from an ancient people who prospered even before us, and that my people did to them what the Greeks and Romans did to us. But this, I cannot accept. I sense a deception. Perhaps it is the work of Set, the usurper, seeking to undermine Osiris once more.
What does the inscription
You
say?
will never know. This work of sacrilege must be destroyed, thrown into the black abyss below in Osiris's name.
Do it, I'll kill you.
Too late. It is done.
Well, I'm gonna go in after it.
Plunge into the depths of the Duat with no way back up. Madness.
We'll see, but first I have a question for
help
you.
you to see reason, then ask.
What's your story exactly?
I am from Rakotis, which you may know as Alexandria, the name of the city the Greeks built over it. I was a fisherman, like my father before me. Since the Romans had taken over from the Greeks, I took the opportunity to learn Latin and eventually traveled to Rome. When the fires broke out last year, I tried to help. I gathered terrified locals into my boat and led many of them to safety farther along the Tiber. On my 7th trip, a passenger demanded I wait for his brother. But we were full to almost sinking, and smoke was all around us. I told him his brother would have to save himself, and he tried to bribe me by placing a coin into my hand. When I refused, he drew a dagger and thrust it between my ribs. I awoke on the banks of the river to a stranger wearing a ram headdress. He said his name was Kirti, and at the time, I simply thought him odd. It did not dawn on me until much later that he was the Kirti, the ram-headed ferryman described in the Book of the Dead.
No way.
This is where I belong, as caretaker of the memories of my people. If our ways are to be remembered, it falls to me.
What do you think of that
I think
golden?
if someone is to break the golden rule, it will not be me. For I try to live as I always have by the command of the goddess Ma'at. Do to the doer to make him do. As for the punishment that will come from it, I finally understand why it has long been said among my people that gold is the skin of the gods.
What do you think is down there?
I do not know. What could possibly lie beneath the underworld? Perhaps it is
It could be the realm of chaos, I guess, but we now know that he predates that.
The lair of Amit, the devourer of souls. All I know is it would be unwise to venture down there.
Well, that just makes me want to go down there even more.
So contrary where you are from, do not even consider it. Good. Be gone from this place. Wait. You are planning to go down there. I see it in your eyes.
Definitely.
You would plunge into the depths of the Duat with no way back up. Madness.
Way back up.
We shall see.
I should save here for the moment. This is just the autosave, so this is the separate one, I guess. Guess I'd best YOLO. Venture beneath the Egyptian underworld. Sumerian plate. A plaque bearing a uniform inscription. Nurgle, the fierce one. So the Sumerians were here first. In fact, there may have even been even more people before them. But we might have simply lost that. But yeah, Sumerians. Wondering if it would be Nurgle or Mott. But I couldn't remember which one was the old one. Barricades in a road instead of barricade. Looks like these Sumerians are trying to defend themselves. I'd best get this bow because we all know what's about to come to me. Oh, there's an invisible wall here. Large boulder. Because of rolling all smashing it, causing water to flow out. Nope. Sumerians, ancient Sumerians who broke their golden rule. Interestingly, this would mean that the equivalent for Persephone also goes back. So if we go back to Nurgle, that would make her the equivalent of a Reshkigal. Oh, so that's what her... Even now, the statues are helping me. Corroded brass plate. Sumerian markings appear to be a pressure plate for some kind. Sumerian pottery. Archaeologists. A broken set of Sumerian pottery. While they're ancient, people made pottery by hand. Sumerians would first develop a turning wheel, which allowed them to mass produce it more easily. Yeah, I don't want to go with the spikes, I don't think. Let's get out of the way of the boulder, shall we? Wow, I really am gonna Indiana Jones this.
When I told you that you would not find a way back up, that was not a prediction. That was a promise.
There is a way back up.
You will die here.
There's no need for this kind of violence.
Disagree. I warned you against coming down here, against perpetuating this sacrilege, but you persisted. You have undermined and dishonored the true god of the underworld. How did you think this would end, if not with bloodshed?
Just hear me out.
Very well, I will listen. But if I sense deception, or if you further insult my gods, I will carry out my threat. So tell me, why should I let you live after you salvaged this instrument of blasphemy?
Hey, there's no shame in building on the works people came for you. If something can be destroyed by the truth, it deserves to be destroyed by the truth. I'm just wanting to blast from the...
Why? To what end?
I'm hoping it'll earn me an audience with the god of the underworld.
Why? What business could you have with Osiris?
We're going to confront him about... Which the golden rule.
Blasphemous fool! You have...
If you do break, you'll break the golden rule.
Good. I welcome it. You see, the philosopher told me that each time it breaks, Osiris bellows with rage, and his voice shakes the very foundations of the earth. I can only hope one more...
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
I may have failed the negotiations, but... Ah, so that's where I came in here. Oh, the statues seem to vanish. I guess because most were all buried, they're not capable of combat anymore. Of course, they're not capable of combat. That's why Mysterious Hermit was able to be here. Seems he knows to hide. He's been through these multiple times, it seems. So he knows exactly what he needs to do to survive, avoid attention, survive. Okay, yeah, he's waiting outside here. Serpentine, serpentine. Looks like we have a few options for endings here. Here we go. And I'm almost completely healed. Herculean task. Collect all 4. Confront and overpower the god of the underworld. First I need to restore all 4 missing plaques to his obelisk. Point of origin. Create a time paradox. According to him, we flung back to moment of a good paradox. I need to change history in a way that makes my being in the past not possible. For example, if I prevent the sin that breaks it, create the portal, it will be impossible for me to be in the past. A paradox. Leads. Figure out how to get Galarius elected. Persuade to run. Maladeus drops out. Nominate himself. Ask to call an election. Perhaps I can make it do sooner. Democracy in action. Figure out how to drop out of the election. I need to dig up some dirt on Maladeus somehow. Find the Greek plaque. Just did I begin by asking Georgius, the only Greek register. Alright, so Dooley has it, and that's the last one.
Oh. You? Alright. But how did you... Alright, of course. I'll make...
That's it, now go as fast as you
I'll
can.
go, but once...
Alright. How long have I been going for? About 3 hours, Well, I think now is a good time to call it, so I'll go ahead and make a new save here. Alright. Well, quite a bit's happened, and it looks like we may have at least a handful of endings we can do next time. So, I'll be going through a handful of those and seeing if I can't go through the last ones. As soon as I get through one, I'll look up a guide just to make sure I can do the others right, or I might just do another one, because it looks like I can have at least 2, either sneaking out with everyone except the magistrate, as well as the one where we confront the underworld god himself. But the others, I might have to look up a guide, so... Well, I'll only worry about that after I complete the others, though. So until next time, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later.